Okay, a little bit of a bad news. Harros is only playable through the prologue. You will not be able to find the shell throughout the game. Sorry to burst you guys' bubble, but I just wanted to be straightforward with you guys. There will be timestamps down in the description for each shell if you want to like skip to the shell you want. And just keep in mind, I try to be respectful of your time in these videos, so dropping subscription helps a small channel like mine in a very big way. So please do consider doing so. So jumping right in, we're going to be taking a look at Tiel the Assassin. What he does is he goes stealth and he does a really big strong stab, as well as having a perfect dodge frame that makes him invisible and undetectable during it. He's a very solid shell that I think has good damage potential later on, but let's go over how to find them. So starting from the Widow's Overlook, you're going to basically turn around to the back right side and try your best to stay to the far left side of the area. There's a boss fight to the right, but you're going to avoid it for now. There's also going to be 3 enemies that can stagger you, so just again avoid them. We're going to eventually go to this village to the left that you see there, but the objective right now is to stay forward until you find this like wooden gated area. And to the left, there will be Tiel in the graveyard that you need to pick up. Now, on your way back, I highly recommend that you go do that mushroom village. There's a lot of enemies in here. Try to avoid them, I guess. But once you get to the very tip top, there will be a bonfire here that you need to activate. We're going to need this for the next shell, so make sure to pick that up quickly so it can make it a lot easier for you. Alright, next we have Proxima the Brood Seeker. What she does is something very similar to Scorpion, where she'll throw out a hook, pull them into you, you'll do a punch and do electric damage. She also has grafted armor, which basically gives her a 15% chance to mitigate damage, and the damage that would be mitigated is about 50%, as well as prevent stagger. This number can be increased, and she has really strong potential to do actually really solid AoE and good damage once she actually is built up. Now what you need to do is from the Widow's Pass teleporter location once again, or bonfire, you're gonna head north. You're gonna see this like trial that you could do in theory if you want, but if you want to stay focused, just head north. Follow the path around the left side. There's going to be a lot of enemies in this area, as well as like 2 flyers. I would run past them and then immediately go to the, I believe it's called like Black Ridge Pass bonfire. You're going to go ahead and pick this one up, and then you're going to immediately get off of it, go to the right side, and then you're going to just follow the path along the side here. One thing to keep in mind is these enemies can hit you and they tend to switch their aggro, so be careful. Make a left and look for this hill going upwards. There's going to be a enemy that is very highly staggerable that you can take down here. And it's, I don't know, he doesn't really hit that hard, but just be mindful of it. And you'll see this like huge bonfire that is kind of beat up. Just go inside, and inside Proxima the Brood Seeker will be inside. Very easy shell to get, doesn't take a lot of effort. Alright, next we have Gragu. What this guy does is he has the ability to do staggering blow, which will charge up a fist that will do a heavy stagger when you punch him. The longer the charge, the more damage you will do. And then you have Revered Heart. What this does is it changes your Esta to essentially this like heart-based thing, where every time you kill an enemy, you have a chance to get hearts. Now, in order to find them, you're going to go back to the Mushroom Village location and then go right. What you're going to do is just follow the path along, and basically you're going to see a village to the left that you need to go into. There's a lot of stuff in this area, so I recommend that you eventually come here and, do this. But what you're looking for is a corruption on the right side that you need to break through. If you haven't been able to unlock this ability, all you need to do is bring enough over to the Marl Keep and then siphon it. You will eventually get it. It doesn't take too much. If I'm being honest, you'll get it really soon. Once you break the corruption, you're going to make a right and go through this like tunnel here. And generally speaking, again, you're going to ignore enemies. Stay to the right side of the path, which is going to lead down into this tunnel. There is a relatively strong enemy here, so be mindful of that so you don't get hit. But on the left side, you'll notice the One Wolf Tavern bonfire location. Highly recommend you pick this up because you're going to need to do a few other things. Once you pick up the beacon, just head downward to the path. And then to the right, you will see a tavern where there are nothing but friendlies in here. So be mindful not to attack anyone. And what you're looking for is the guy just sitting there on the bench. He's going to be kind of in the corner. And you're going to need to pretty much exhaust his dialogue and just keep asking him if you need help over and over. And eventually he's going to basically assign you to go get a heart or something. So that's pretty much what you need to do. Just keep harassing him until he gives you the quest. Once you do that, you're just going to leave out the arena and then make your way across the bridge to the right side. And just make your way all the way through. You're going to head upwards and you'll see a bunch of like statues praying. But you're on the right path if you're going that way. There's going to be a bunch of flyers that you need to run past, and then there's going to be a warp gate that's going to teleport you across. Now, what you need to do is get to the very top of this area, But the thing is, when you go through this area, you're going to awaken all those stone guys, and paths are going to be blocked off. So you just need to be mindful of that. So before you go to the very tip top, I recommend that there's going to be a door here to the left that you can walk through. And within this area, there's going to be a few candles that you need to activate, because there's a chest in the center that has a really solid tar stone that you need to pick up. So there's one candle there you see there. You just follow the clock, what I'm doing clockwise on the screen, or counterclockwise. And there's going to be another one there, and then there's going to be a final one next to the guys kind of like holding their hands up, and this will unlock the chest, which will give you, I believe it's called like berserking something, and when you open the chest, it's going to give you berserk stone, and then you're pretty much good to go from here. You're going to go back out, make a left up the stairs, and then you're going to take these hearts here and be prepared to pretty much run through the area. Now everything's going to close up, so you're just going to take the right side path, and it's going to let you jump down. Continue onward, because again, a lot of these areas are going to be closed off. Go through the front door, and then again, you're just going to go to the right side area. You're just going to primarily stay on the right side and just jump down. And then once you get through this door here at the very end, you're just going to run all the way back to the tavern and give the heart. Once you have the heart, he's going to eat it, and just like that, you have access to him. He's actually a pretty cool shell. All right, next we have Eredrim the Vulnerable, and what this guy does is he has the ability to charge up a attack that slams into enemies and build up a ton of break. He also has a secondary ability that basically does a snap version of it, and it will do a bunch of AoE version of that break. And then he has Executioner, which whenever he repulses a lot of enemies, he'll eventually get these Executioner stacks. And each of these Executioner stacks is going to make it easier for him to do a Calling Strike. And essentially what a Calling Strike is, once an enemy reaches a certain threshold, they can instantly die. So that's the kind of purpose of this shell. He has really good parry synergies. He has really good break synergies. And he gets kind of crazy on his Calling Strike if you can build it up. So starting from the one-legged wolf tavern, you're going to essentially do a very similar thing. You're going to go down, but instead of walking to the right side where you go to the tavern, you're going to go to the place to the left of the first bridge that you went across to go get the heart. And there's going to be a secondary bridge up this way. Be careful not to fall off like I almost do in this footage, but yeah, make your way all the way up. There's going to be a second set of stone stairs you need to go up, and be mindful there is an enemy in this area. You can kind of ignore them, but on the right side, you'll see there's a bag on the side there that you need to pick up. And what this does is it teleports you to the Citadel of Penance, which is going to be where you need to face off against a boss to beat Eredrim, or to get Eredrim rather. And then once you are inside, break the gauge, go to the right side, and you're going to notice there's two things here. There's going to be a jump up, and then there's going to be a lift. You're going to go to the jump up first, and then you're going to make a left here, because this is going to lead you to the bonfire in this region, so that in the event that you die, you can actually, come back. So go ahead and immediately go here and pick up the bonfire. Once you have the bonfire, you're just going to basically go the same path you went, go back down, go to the left side here, drop down, and then go to the right side where you'll see a lift that goes up. Once you go through that lift at the very tip top, there will be pretty much an arena that you need to face off against a relatively easy boss, in my opinion. And then after you do that, you'll get Eredrim, and you can have a really solid shell. All right, next we have Smert. And what Smert does is he will basically sacrifice half his health to halt time, which this makes him really good at just general exploration. But he goes into an unarmed state where he'll start punching enemies and inflicting chaos. Chaos just applies different random conditions on enemies, and once you come out of the time stop, it'll just apply to the enemy, sometimes freezing them and doing different things. Once his health reaches a certain threshold, he'll start getting more and more resolves regeneration, which will enter him into the faith state, which will be around, I believe, 10% HP. And you'll just keep generating resolve, which can be used to, use whatever you want in that moment. He's very solid shell that has some good synergies, but yeah, this is how you get him. So starting from the Citadel location, you're just going to pretty much go to the right side instead of the left. And what you're going to do is just run around the path. What you're looking for is this huge gate area that leads to a hole in the wall. You're going to see to the left there's going to be a hole that you can drop down to. And then when you drop down the hole, drop down again and make a hard right. Go across this bridge here. And then once you get across this bridge, you'll notice that there's going to be a teleporter that takes you to the other side. In this area, you're just going to generally ignore everything and continue down the bridge. Careful not to fall over. And then once again, you're going to just keep making your way down until you find another one of these warp gates that's going to take you to the other side once again. Now, once you're over here, there's going to be quite a few enemies that you need to take down. But the most important thing to keep in mind is there's going to be like these pools, and the way you activate them is just by basically pressing E on it or whatever your key is. And this is going to send you out of your shell, but it's going to fill up the blood in those pools. Once you do that, I think you only need to fill up 1 or 2 of them. You just simply go to him. He's going to be laying on the desk there, on the table there rather, and then you'll have access to him. He's extremely easy to get, very straightforward shell. All right, next we have Genessa the Wayward. And what this person does is, and she's not a shell, keep that in mind, she isn't the Harbinger. She has the ability to send out these faithful doubles that will do attacks based on the weapons that you have equipped. As you upgrade this, you'll get more and more attacks, but she kind of functions as a summoner. And one other cool thing about her is whenever she goes down, like that would hypothetically be in your Harbinger form, she stays her way, but she goes into like her like evil side, I guess. I don't know, I think it's like an evil side. But basically when she activates her active ability, she will create copies of herself that will deal equal damage to what she does, and you can have up to 3 whenever you fully like build her out. And this will actually end up doing some pretty absurd melee damage or whatever damage you do with this shell. So yeah, she's really cool. I would highly recommend picking her up. She has some crazy build potential. Now you're gonna need to go to the very tip top of the keep once again and go to the outskirts of Mammon to get this one, because it's gonna be to the southern area. Once you get out there, you're just gonna make your way down towards the bottom where you see a huge gateway, and here you're just going to try your best not to get hit, because these enemies actually hit way harder than the previous zones. I think this is a higher level zone. And you're going to make your way to the Road of Absolution and make your way to the left. There's going to be a drop down that takes you to this huge open field, and you're just going to run through this field. Be mindful that there are a lot of archers and enemies in this area that can do some pretty solid damage. You're going to take the warp gate to the other side, and then you're going to go up the stairs. This is going to take you to a brand new region that looks really cool, but you're going to go up the stairs. There's going to be 2 sets of stone stairs. And then you're going to go here and you'll see a huge wall called the Revenant Graves. And as you walk to the, I believe the second wall, there will be a chalice there that you need to take. That's going to teleport you to a new region. Now, I have put out a video the other day that goes over a bunch of weapons. But I use the axe a lot because it has insane stagger. And you just need to take down this this person here. She's not particularly strong, if I'm being honest. But yeah, you're gonna have to take her down. And then once you eventually take her down, she's going to drop an item that you need to pretty much take back all the way back to the Marrow Keep. You're gonna go talk to pretty much the character you're trying to unlock. And then once you talk to her and do her dialogue, you'll have her usable as a playable character. Really cool character again. I can't wait to make a build with her. Alright, next we have Lazlo, and what Lazlo does is he's going to heat up his armor and do shockwaves of heat damage that will put burn on enemies. The more you heat it up, the more likely it is to break your armor, and then your armor will eventually break, leaving you a little bit more vulnerable. I say a little bit more vulnerable, but that's relative to every other shell, because you'll be pretty much on par with every other shell, because he does have a passive called Fortified Plate. As long as he has his armor on, he has 10% DR, which is really great. He has really good potential to scale into a like burn build that can blow up the whole screen, as well as just become crazy tanky. All right, so starting from the same outskirts of Mammon, you're gonna make your way downward towards that path where you'll see this essentially a wooden bridge and wooden path that you're gonna follow, and just pretty much stay on this wooden path the entire time up until you get to this warp gate, which is going to be at the top. That's going to take you across the way. Once you get across the way, you're going to make your way down to the left side, because down here in the deserted slum there's going to be a bonfire that you should take just in case you die or something, because this is again going to be a long run. After you take this beacon, you're going to make your way back all the way upwards and then run throughout this entire area. There's going to be a troll here that's going to be throwing things at you, and as you saw in the footage, he kind of hit me and broke my shell, so just be mindful of that. You're going to go all the way up to the another teleporter and avoid this porcupine guy who does a lot of damage. It's gonna be a lot of worm enemies, but if you have sheep form, you should be able to avoid most attacks. Make your way upwards, and then to the left you'll go up some other stairs. There's gonna be a wood monster on the bridge. Just make your way across the bridge, and then pretty much once you get to the High Lord's Keep, you're gonna stay to the right side under this little archway and go up the stairs. Now you're gonna make a left into this little keep area, and then another left down the stairs, and you'll see another bonfire. That's gonna be another save that you definitely need to pick up. Once you pick it up, you're gonna basically go all the way back up to the right side, run up back through the keep area, and then there's gonna be a lift that takes you upwards that you need to jump up. Once you're up there, you're going to just stay straight, and then to the right there is going to be essentially an opening that's going to lead down to a boss fight in this area. Once again, he's not particularly strong, if I'm being completely honest. Just be mindful as you approach. There's going to be one of those rolling porcupine guys, and then at the very end of the corridor you'll see him. He's very staggerable like a lot of enemies in this game, so just spam your axe and you'll eventually take him down. And once you eventually take him down, the gate behind him will open up, and down at the bottom you'll see his armor, his body just laying there, where you can take Lazlo. He is extremely cool. All right, next we have Sariel, and what Sariel does is whenever you shoot out these thorns at these enemies, it will just basically home onto them and then flick curse on them every stack for each thing that hits them, and each activation inflicts pain onto you. What pain does is essentially make your health a gray health bar, and anytime you would hypothetically take damage, it would take 50% of it, since that gray health is like reduced damage. And like a lot of other gray health mechanics, whenever you hit, when you have gray health, you will actually heal naturally. Now, if you don't have any form of pain at all on your site, on your character, any hit that you take will also be reduced by 50% damage, and then it will become gray health. Whenever you're at max pain, your whole bar is filled with pain. You will get more dodge frames, making you extremely hard to hit. All right, starting from the previous location, we're gonna go back towards the bridge that we previously went to, and keep in mind this is gonna be the longest run, so yeah, you're gonna be careful here. Gonna go back to the road of absolution, and you're instead gonna go all the way to the very end of the bridge, and just be careful with the rolling guy there, because he can knock you out. He does a ton of damage. Now, once you get to the gate, you're just going to take the teleporter to another keep, which is going to teleport you downward. And this area can be very, very dangerous because there's a lot of those porcupine guys. You're just going to do your best to avoid it and go through the main gate. And then as you go through the main gate, you're going to make a left, because the front gate is going to be locked, which will take you down to like this walkway to the left. When you make your way through, there's going to be a bridge that you need to be careful on not to fall in, because I fell here multiple times. And yeah, you're just going to make your way to the left, which will take you to another warp gate. Take the warp gate, and then once you get to the other side, there's going to be a lift. Take the lift up, and you're just going to run through the area and make a right. Now, as you go through this area, you're going to go downward, and then you're going to stay across to the left. There's going to be another bridge with this a monster here. Try to avoid it. And then once you go across, you'll see like a bridge that you need to get across, and then make a very sharp right. And then there's going to be a drop down that you need to go down to the path. Again, just be very mindful, there's enemies shooting at you. And there's going to be another bridge that leads you to the right, and you're going to go head upwards. All the way through here, there's going to be a couple of enemies. Nothing too crazy. I think most of them are like those torch wielding guys. So just head up the stairs. And then when you go to the very tip top, this is where you're trying to get to, because you're going to find him on the right side. Do not go there. You're going to stay straight. And then on the right side, when you stay straight, there's going to be another teleporter that's going to essentially teleport you to another one of those bonfires. You will absolutely need to get this bonfire. It is not negotiable, because this guy is the definition of a glass cannon. He hits like a truck, but he cannot take a hit. When you kill him the very first time, he's going to pretty much not teleport, but he's going to like walk to the gate behind you. And this guy is going to essentially unlock an area where you need to chase him down. You're going to need to make your way up through the gate and go into the dungeon. Once you get to the dungeon, you're going to go through it, and you'll find him again inside. Once you get him to about half HP, he's going to once again be annoying and leave. Again, he hits like a truck, so be mindful of that. And then once you get to the final arena, before you get to the edge, do not go over the edge. Look over the edge, and you'll see these like tombstones. What this does is resurrect him. So if you kill him again, he'll resurrect another time. So yeah, take out your repeater and just shoot all these gravestones. And then once you get the gravestone taken down, go down there and then finally finish him off. You'll get access to his shell, the clockwork scythe, as well as another ranged weapon within that area. And yeah, just like that, you'll have him. And there you have it, guys. That is how you unlock every shell in Mortal Shell 2. I tried to be as concise and quick as possible. Hopefully you guys have good idea of what direction you need to go to get all these things. There's no level requirement from what I can tell to get them. I have gotten all these at less than level 10, so it should be fairly easy for you guys to get it. So yeah, hope this guys helped you out. If it did help you out though, guys, do consider again leaving me a like, dropping a comment, or even subscribing. Again, I'm a small channel. Your subscriptions actually help in a very big way. Let me know down in the comments what videos you'd like to see next, because we do have a lot of stuff coming up, and I'd like to make something you guys may want to see. As always, my name is Fervor. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Mortal Shell 2 video very soon.